Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Welcome back to the show that has been rizzing up your radio for an entire year. The show that Sunday drives every day of the week. It's the audience of one show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you get your podcast from. I am Andrew, next to the guy who cannot be depended on for Valentine's Day. It's Dick, Practical Effect Schisler. What is up, buddy?
Oh, man.
I think those intros get longer every single show.
I like it. Well, my favorite thing is you put them all together. I sound like the oldest, grumpiest, meanest man in the world.
I got to go back and put them all together. That takes some work. But yeah, somewhere around, I don't know, third month of the show, I started putting those together as our intro, and it's stuck. Yeah, I've gotten some feedback that they really like the way the show is introduced. It is a little bit like the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, though, I have to admit. That's what makes it fun. Hey, man, 1 year.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
No.
We've been doing this for a year. It did seem to fly by. Episode number 52, guys.
You know, I had this weird thought the other day, especially with Facebook reminding you, like when you first got on Facebook. And I was like, man, I've almost been on Facebook for 20 years.
Oh, my gosh.
And because
So
I was
old.
I was right there when it was a college thing.
Right.
Like that was my freshman year in college where Facebook started becoming a college thing where you had to have a college email address, you had to be confirmed. And all that kind of-
.edu, I believe, right?
So, yeah, because that was a great tool because you got to meet a lot of people before you went into college. That's like, especially as a freshman, you could sort it by like who's an entering freshman at Abilene Christian University.
It was kind of like the precursor to swipe left.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, who's single? But it got me thinking. I was like, man, this last year, because we started in February.
We did.
And
February
I don't
14th.
even remember what we did.
Well, I happened to go back and listen to our first episode a few months ago, randomly. I don't know why. And yeah, we were talking about the Super Bowl, which will be happening again this weekend. And yeah, we're talking about the Chinese balloon, Madonna's face, and all of those things. And I thought, man, that was 1 year ago. Yeah, we recorded, I think, on Super Bowl Sunday. Show aired a couple days later.
Who was in the Super Bowl?
Last year was Kansas City against the Eagles.
Okay.
And it was a close game from what I can remember. A really good game, like 35-31 or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's been 1 year. Congratulations,
I don't remember
man.
any of our episodes. I don't remember last week's.
That's a good thing I'm here.
I don't really remember anything we did. And that's why I like your opening line where you remind me of what I said last episode.
Yes, it's always a reference back to a previous episode, which makes it fun. But I did think it would be fun, a fun little exercise here.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Yes, to look at other famous power duos that did not last as long as you and I have on the radio.
So you're talking about a year or
Yes,
less.
a year or less. So coming in at 309 days, Jim Carrey and Lauren Holly. You remember that relationship?
I don't know who Lauren Holly is.
She was an actress, or I guess she still is.
Oh, she's the one in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep. Tom Green and Drew Barrymore, they only made it 163 days.
That's because he got cancer and she wasn't sympathetic to it.
Oh, no. I think it's because I think it's because he's absolutely bat and crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, although now I've heard they've kind of reconciled, and our friends, I think he was on her show not too long ago. Carmen Electra and Dennis Rodman, 129 days.
Why are these all couples? We're not
power couples.
Well, we're not.
We're a radio couple. We are Montgomery County's radio power couple. Yeah. Nicolas Cage and Lisa Marie Presley only lasted 107 days. Oh no, here's Drew Barrymore on this list again to some guy named Jeremy Thomas, 39 days. Oh boy. But I think the one that takes the cake here, Britney Spears and Jason Alexander lasted only 55 hours. And no, not the Jason Alexander from Seinfeld, a high school friend. You remember that big ordeal where they went to Vegas and got married, probably in a drunken stupor? Didn't last. I thought it was true love. But we have outlasted every single one of those notable couples. It feels good, doesn't it?
Well, what's odd to me, I don't know any of those people personally, but I wonder, it's like, what was the reason of getting married
to begin with?
Yeah. Like I can understand people getting married for a reason, but I just don't see a reason why they would, besides just to get married, not like a.
They weren't thinking it through, man. I don't know, but we've lasted a year. Speaking of,
well, will you marry me? It's been a year.
Radio marriage, maybe. Yeah, let's do radio marriage. Baby steps.
Hey,
here,
I tried.
Hey, Dick, I got to ask you something. Do you hold on to any of your old trophies, like from childhood?
No. Looking back, like I said, my memory isn't great. I think my mom, and you know people in your life that are like, not OCD, but they like to clean, like they don't have clutter.
Uh-huh.
And I think my mom, because I'm the sixth kid, so she learned real fast that things pile up.
Yeah.
And especially if they're like, every one of us did sports. I was playing baseball, basketball year round.
She had a stack of participant trophies.
So I think she got over it real quick. Like, even if it was a first place deal, it's like, doesn't matter. You're gone.
Yeah, a few years ago, my parents delivered to me in a box all of my childhood trophies, and I held on to them for a little bit, but I have to admit, it's hard to throw out an old trophy. It just doesn't seem right. I don't know, something about the entire process, like I was losing a piece of me, but which is funny is I hadn't seen those things in years anyway, so obviously I didn't care, about my 1987 first place UIL trophy, but when I saw it, suddenly it meant something to me again. But yeah, I did hold on to them. I have a bunch from when I was in college, participating in high-level athletics. The bowling team, that is. We got some awards, and I still have those, but I don't display them. I have a few in my office from like Montgomery County awards from bowling and this and that, just a few, but I try not to display all of them. And I came across this article. It's actually saying that it's probably not a good idea to hang on to your old trophies. And I thought, wait, what? It's a pretty lengthy article, but I kind of encapsulated it here to shorten it for our onesie audience. But it says this phenomenon has been called the Ozymandias problem, an allusion to the once great Egyptian pharaoh, also known as Ramses II. And this phenomenon refers to our futility of efforts to immortalize our accomplishments. Basically putting trophies and statues of ourselves is just sort of this futile attempt to make ourselves amazing.
Well,
right?
I think it's just depends on the accomplishment, really, because I know, like, growing up for me, with the family business and stuff, there was always these city awards from like the city of Houston and proclamations, and so that was like a big thing to my family. So I don't know if those are considered trophies or not. And then there's also like
I don't know what the definition of trophy is, to be honest with you.
Because there's always like honorary things, like they honored my grandfather all the time for doing different things in the community, and it was more of like cool statues and stuff like that. And it's like, do you
of
throw
him?
It? No, of like,
that would
well,
be
the
cool.
coolest one he had, I forgot who it was. It was some cowboy back in the day, but he was like, a big community guy in the 1800s, and so it was like a cool statue.
Would you want a statue of yourself?
Oh yeah,
that would be all I can imagine.
Yeah.
I want a statue of us in Estonian style. That would be pretty slick.
That would, I think it'd be hilarious. What we do is you take that model, right? Mm-hmm. And what you do is
the cast. Yeah.
You take the cast and you make me who's on top. Would you be on top?
I don't know. We'll have to flip a coin for it.
Whoever's on top, it bobbles, and you can put a penny in the face, and then you slap it up, and it rolls the penny into the bank. You know what I'm talking about?
And that's donations for the station.
Yeah, and you just you clip the legs. So it's I'm sitting there going like this.
Oh boy.
On the butt. And I think that would be great. A statue, yeah. I mean, I remember I was commissioning a painting because we have a painting.
I'm sorry. Say that again. You were commissioning a painting
for an anniversary gift, and then I realized I didn't love her, so I was like, I didn't want to spend the money. But I
just love this commissioning a painting. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, because one of my favorite paintings we have is of my grandmother. They did with chalk. So it has a really cool depth to it, and it's when she was like 30-something.
Oh wow!
It was like 1947, I think.
That's really cool.
Did it. And it looks great. And I was like, and I looked at that and I go, I want to do this for my now ex-wife because I want our grandkids to remember, like when they see it,
right?
They go, look at our grandmother. She was beautiful.
Aw.
Yeah, and then guess what? That didn't
Yeah,
happen.
you can do it next time, maybe.
Somebody had to leave. But no, what was interesting about it is trying to find artists, because we have art leagues. We have a great art league in the Woodlands, a great art league in Conroe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like I had to interview them because I wanted to make it look just like that. And I probably talked to about 10 different artists who do chalk. And I was like, I want it to look exactly like the same style. Like,
Sure.
I don't want it to have like an artsy feel. Like, it literally looks like a photograph, but with the beautiful blending of chalk.
You run a real risk there, though, man.
Oh, yeah.
If you get this done, and it's a self-portrait, or not self-portrait, but a portrait of your fiance or wife, and it doesn't look anything like her, or she doesn't think that it's flattering.
Well, see, that's where, and this is something I wanted.
Look, it's beautiful, babe.
Well, this is where I wanted to get into something.
Do I really look like? Is my
Exactly.
lip? Is my upper lip really that hairy?
Well, see, one of my favorite conversations when you're in a relationship with somebody is the constant changing of how they think you look at them and what they think you like. For example, one girl always, I liked her having short hair. I liked her having long hair. Didn't really care, right? And she equated that I was nicer to her when she had short hair.
This is awesome.
And then it became this whole thing over, like, I'm not kidding you. Every time a hair appointment came up, it was a do or die thing for me. It's like, should I get my hair cut short because that's when you were nicer to me? Should I do that?
Well, I've got to go get my hair cut. You're being a real ass to me.
Yeah, I was sitting there. I remember thinking to myself, going like, man, this is a lose-lose for me. How did I even get in this scenario? And I even one time I told her, I was like, you should do something completely different. Like, I go shave it.
Oh man, then you would really like her.
No,
be really nice to her.
Because I was trying to give
by the rules she just established.
Yeah, I was trying to give a ridiculous answer because it was a ridiculous question, and I was like, just shave it. That's what I want. If you're asking me what I want you to shave it. Well, I'm not going to do that. Well, then don't ask me what I want then. Like, I did not know how to.
Can't believe that marriage didn't last.
Well, that wasn't even the marriage. That was somebody else.
Oh God!
And that same thing happened with my ex-wife, and I was like, does this happen with every relationship, or are they just kind of like, and especially when they go, hey, you were nicer to me with shorter hair? I go, that's crazy town talk.
That really is.
I love it though, because I was like, when was that?
Then you start looking at certain situations and go, maybe I was.
Yeah.
Maybe I am a real ass when their hair's long.
I mean,
well, speaking of trophies, getting back to the topic at hand here, it says, while trophies are intended to make us happier by invoking a positive memory, but plenty of research has shown that recalling past experiences can indeed improve well-being by lowering stress, reducing feelings of sadness, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the idea of a trophy. But however, remember I said it's probably a good idea to throw out your old trophies. Trophies attempt simultaneously to stop time and to substitute a concrete object for abstract experience. And memorializing extraordinary victories can set you up for an unhappy comparison with your former self. Oh my God, talk about a fun ruiner. So basically they're saying you got to throw these trophies out because every time you walk past the mantle in your living room, you're going to go, God, look at how good I used to be. Now I just suck. Remember when I could make baskets from 30 feet away? Now I can barely walk. That's essentially what they're saying. It's kind of odd, and it's kind of sad when you think about it.
Yeah.
But I guess
I always like the idea of getting trophies that are passed on.
Yeah, but that's not even memorializing an accomplishment of yourself. That's from somebody else. So maybe
it's like,
in that case, it's okay.
Yeah,
I guess,
like the
right?
Stanley Cup. They write your name on it.
Sure.
But you get to keep it for the year, but then, of course, if you win it again, they get your name on it again, but you also have to pass it on. And then at least your name's on it, and you're like, hey, if you ever see the Stanley Cup ever again, you can see our team's name on it. That's us.
Yeah, that is kind of a neat.
I like that a little bit more than, I get a baseball trophy every year because I've played baseball.
Does the Stanley Cup get taller every single year because there's more names on it and they got to keep stacking another level?
Honestly, I think so.
Wow.
I don't really know too much.
Eventually, you're not going to be able to lift that thing up over their heads, I guess.
It breaks all the time, so that's one of the few.
Yeah,
that's one of the few trophies that people are allowed to touch because they bring. That's kind of the tradition with the Stanley Cup, where each player gets to take it for a day,
and they do crazy things with it.
So
Man, I've heard some crazy.
And
stories.
I like that. That to me is more fun.
Yeah, I think that's why that trophy has so much history to it because I think it's the only one that's done like that. To be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I don't even know how like NFL and basketball trophies are really like. I have no idea. Because like the pennants, and then you have the Astros World Series trophies. I guess they leave them at the front office. Like, you walk in, there's just one trophy, and like that's what you get.
I think those are replicas, though. I honestly think, right? They probably make a few, and
Well, there has to be one, right? The original.
yeah, I guess. I don't know. Trophy talk.
I mean, trophies are cool. Whatever. I don't really care though.
Yeah.
I'll give you a trophy next time.
I thought about bringing in a little trophy for our 1 year, and no, it's just stupid.
Well, that's why I like what they do with bowling, where they give you the pins.
Yeah.
Because you can put them on your bag. You can do kind of a neat little thing with them, and they're not big enough to where they're taking up so much space.
Yeah, or you feel bad when you eventually have to throw them away.
But then they give you random ones like paperweights. And that one throws me off. I actually have it in my car. I have the one I got because I threw it in my glove box. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
It means a lot to you, I can see.
Well, I was confused. I was like, I'd rather just have a pin.
Right. At least I can write with that.
No, I meant like a push pin. Like
push pin, sorry.
Like those pins.
Yeah,
Not like a writing pin.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but yeah. And then they started doing this with the 300s. And then, because I always made that joke about bowlers who have the ring. I was like, I wouldn't get, because people don't know when you're a certified bowler, or whatever they call it.
You participate in a certified or sanctioned league. You are eligible to get awards for certain accomplishments.
And then you get a ring basically for free, from what I understand.
It's paid through your dues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. No cost to you.
But then you don't get another one. So if you get another 300, they give you like a plaque.
Didn't used to be that way.
They always gave you a ring?
They changed the rules probably about 15, 20 years ago because guys were getting multiple rings, and it was just constantly, they were just getting more and more and more.
Yeah.
And then it was like it was one a season. But you get one every season, and it got too costly for the association.
I imagine, because they're neat little rings. But I was always thinking to myself, I was like, can you imagine some dude wearing like 10 of those and just having this jewelry everywhere? And
I've done it.
Oh, how many rings do you have?
I don't know. Enough.
You don't wear it, though.
No, I don't wear them.
You don't really wear jewelry, do you?
No, I don't. Not really.
Me either.
Yeah.
Like
hey, man.
This watch is like
the
hardest thing I have to wear.
You have to remind yourself to put it on?
I hate it. And then I have to remind myself to wind it.
Oh, that's right. How's that going?
I feel like a caveman. And I'm like,
speaking of caveman, did you do the wallet in the front pocket like I instructed you to do?
Absolutely
You said
not.
you were going to do it.
Absolutely
For the
not.
show, man. And report back your experience for the 1 week.
I'll be honest, I forgot. So
next week. Report back next week.
Dude, I forget everything, but then I don't forget random stuff. It's strange. I almost want to get one of those Apple Vision Pros and have it remind me of stuff, so I can just quickly say like, hey, Apple, remind me to put my wallet in my front pocket every morning. So I put my goggles on. Put your pocket.
I think you can do that on your
pocket.
I think you can do that on your phone.
Yeah, but I don't want to have a phone. I like have you seen these things yet?
Yeah, you're talking about the Oculus?
No, the Vision Pros, the new Apple.
I saw a commercial for it. It looks really, really creepy.
I watched a couple YouTube videos of people just like day-to-day use.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're for. Like, because when I first saw it, I immediately thought, oh man, watching movies, that'd be the greatest way to watch movies because you don't see anybody else and you're not being disturbed. But then
total immersion.
Yes, but I was like, I'm not paying $4,000 for a headset to watch movies. But then I started watching videos of people, like one guy walked all around New York, got on the subway, and like wore it the entire time.
Yeah, because you can see through it.
You can see. Well, you don't see through it. It's cameras giving you feedback. So it's not like you're not
weird.
It's weird, and but yeah, I think that's a great way to start living your life. It's just with the visor on your headset saying, hey, I can't live my own life. I need you to help me live it. Can you just remind me to put the stupid wallet in my pocket? And it's like, I've noticed you didn't put your wallet in your pocket, Dick.
Thank you, Siri.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like we're gonna start seeing people like at dinner tables and stuff at restaurants.
Oh, I know, man.
That'd be great.
It's strange. The commercial kind of threw me off there. I guess they're on the market now because I saw a commercial for it. It almost seemed like it was like a future product to be, but no, it's already out.
Yeah, I think it's going to change. I think it's going to
change. I'm going to have to look into those.
I think it's going to change some people's lives. It's going to be crazy. Like you're going to see them have it everywhere they go. Because I could never think of wearing that outside of work or in a scenario like if you're on an airplane. Like you need to work, you need to focus, but you're stationary. Mm-hmm. I just can't imagine wearing that like go into your car. Oh, I got to wear my goggles on the way to the car.
No, thanks. I'm just going to use my regular old vision. This is a cool story, man, from the future to now maybe the past. A man used a 46-year-old ticket to get into Disney's Magic Kingdom.
Did it work?
It worked.
I believe it.
So, and the reason it worked is because there's technically no expiration date on there. And the original face value of the ticket was $8. Well, the price of the daily admission now, I think, is somewhere like $130 or $150. And, yeah, they honored it and let him in. This was a 46-year-old man, Matthew Abels. He's got more than 600 followers on TikTok. No one cares. But yeah, he took this in there, I guess, as a TikTok experiment. I don't know where he got the ticket from, but pretty cool thing. I guess the moral of the story is go ahead and buy a ticket now. Wait 40 years, and it'll be such a deal to get into Disneyland.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man.
I guess.
I mean, I think there was initially some conjecture whether or not they were going to let him in. Of course, he's doing this all for views on his TikTok, I'm sure. When they came back and they said, all right, sir, come on in. It's victory. So who's laughing now?
This has nothing to do with the specific story you had, but, I had this idea where people who are doing crazy things like this go on social media and talk about it. What's weird to me is it's someone's job out there to scour the internet for companies to say, hey, this is a viral moment. We need to work with this person.
Is there?
Because I feel like someone at Disney probably saw this guy and was like, hey.
Oh, yeah, this guy, he's viral.
Ticket.
Let him in. This will be good press for us. Yeah, possibly. It says adjusting for inflation, the 1978 ticket would have a current value of $38. But to get into Disney, it says day passes start at $109. Whoa. So something's not adding up there, man. Something's not adding up.
I think I've been to
the math ain't mathing.
Disneyland or World one time, and I was like 8.
Yeah.
I don't remember going there, though.
I've never been.
So
I've never been. Hey, man, what would you do in this situation? I know we've talked about this before where you're on an airplane, you look out the window, and I've always said, wouldn't it be cool just to walk out onto the wing?
I guess.
Yeah, well, this is, what would you do if you saw something outside of the window? And I don't mean like the Michael Lithgow from Twilight Zone movie where he sees the alien.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
I do like sitting in the aisles of the window seat. That's my favorite.
Are you a window seat guy?
I love watching. I've only ridden on an airplane like probably 5 times.
Yeah, that's what
and
you said.
I love it. I love
what
it.
You said.
And I love the window. You get to see the takeoff, and everyone get real small, and then you try to like map out the counties as we're heading north or south or wherever. I like doing that. That's kind of fun. But if I saw anything out in the wing?
So anyways, this was a British traveler, Phil Hardy. He looked out of the window and noticed 4 screws missing from the wing of the airplane. Now look, I don't know a lot about aviation. I don't know a lot about engineering, aeronautical engineering at that. But I do think that it's a good idea to have the wing securely fastened to the fuselage, wouldn't you think? 4 screws missing. Now, this is what's interesting about this, because if I look out and I see, and there's a picture in the link I sent you, if you want to scroll down in that article,
I'm looking
you can
at
see that you clearly see 4 missing screws. But if I saw that, I don't know that I would think that they were missing not on purpose, right? Because to me, it's like, they're not going to miss a screw. They know to put screws in there. Au contraire, he told, I guess, one of the flight attendants, they told the crew, the flight crew outside, they came over with a screwdriver, a handheld screwdriver, and screwed the 4 screws in. Dude, I'd be like, get me off of this plane. It's always the small things. It's always the details that always get us, man. That is nuts.
Well, what I love is we're all engineers when we see 4 screws missing, and like the plane's going to crash because there's 4 screws missing.
But again, I see that. I wouldn't have thought anything of it. I would have been like, well, those are purposely missing. I mean, that couldn't possibly be the fact that they just forgot to put them in. No, apparently they did. Or is it one of those things where they're like, all right, these really don't mean anything. Let's just go put 4 screws in there to make everybody feel comfortable, even though really it does nothing. I don't know. I'd be curious. But the sight of them coming out with a handheld Phillips.
That's kind of fun.
To put this thing back together. Don't you guys worry. I got it.
We got it.
We got it.
I like it. What I would really like better if it was like an 80-year-old man, and he had like climbed the ladder real slowly to get on the wing, and he's like, I'm the only one who knows how to do this. That would have been good.
He's quoted as saying, "I'm a good flyer, but my partner was not loving the information I was telling her and started to panic." So I guess it's one of these things where he leaned over to his wife and said, "Hey, I think there's some screws missing, honey." And she went, "Oh my God, you have to tell somebody. You have to tell somebody." He's like, "Oh, it's fine. You better tell him right now. You better tell him right now. I'm not getting on this flight with you."
Man, you know, it's funny you say that about flights. I love reading internet stories, and one of the internet stories was there's a great subreddit on Reddit called like "Am I the blank hole?"
Yes, yeah, you've talked about those before.
And one of
great.
them was basically he left his wife at the airport because
Whoops.
they apparently were. She's always late to everything, and when they finally got to the airport and went through security, went on through stuff, she wanted Starbucks. And he's like, "Well, to get on Starbucks, you have to take a rail to like the next part of the airport, and we're boarding in like 20 minutes." There's like, "There's no way." And he's like, he goes, "There's no way you're gonna make it, or we're gonna." And she's like, "Well, I'm going." He's like, "Well, okay." So she goes, and he boards, waiting for her, and they close the boarding, and she's stuck outside, and he's calling her, and he goes, "Well, just take the next flight."
Yeah.
Because he's already sitting.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I don't know what I'd do in that situation. But
Yeah.
I'm assuming she eventually made it to their final destination.
I mean, I don't.
I'm
well,
guessing.
I'm probably not married anymore after that. Well, apparently, in his story, they already missed the first flight because of her.
So, this was already a relationship on rocky ground
we
here.
had to
is that what
wait.
we're saying?
Yeah, he said they had to delay. He had to get the flight the next day, and he's like made a point of not being late. And so that was the point. And of course, right when they get there, she wants coffee, but not just coffee from the one right next door. She wants Starbucks.
Of course. Right,
So.
of course. Can't have Dunkin' coffee. Got to have Starbucks.
I like it, though.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of these airplanes have been making news lately for mechanical type failures. You've heard the story about the doors being sucked off of some of the, the 737-9 MAX flights. You have not heard about this? Happened one time for sure. Actually, I think it happened twice. Scary. The emergency hatch door just flies right off. Ugh, scary.
Cool.
And it's the suction actually is so strong. Luckily, everybody was still seated in their seatbelts because they were
they still had their clothes on.
It ripped the shirt right off the little boy who was sitting right there closest to it. They had, of course, had to make an emergency landing. Everyone was fine, but bent the chairs. The metal on the chairs were bent. I mean, the suction was just so intense. Can you imagine? People's phones fly right out of their hands. Crazy. So I have actually looked at my upcoming flight to make sure I'm not on one of those jets, and I am not, thank goodness. Crazy. So you sent me an article a couple days ago, speaking of heights and scary stuff. Yes. Of the 2-year-old becoming the youngest person to ever reach the summit of Mount Everest.
No, not this. The base camp.
Oh, the base camp. Okay. I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a fake headline.
No, it does say base camp in here.
In the article.
I interpreted it as the summit.
Well,
okay.
You read the headline. Yeah, it makes it sound like it's on Everest, but then of course it's the base camp. Because I was thinking to myself,
it does say base camp in here. I misspoke. Misspoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Is this good parenting? Honestly, I mean,
well, I don't really know what it takes to get to the base camp, so it might be just a car ride. I don't really know. Probably not.
Well, it says reach the site of 17,598 feet. That's a lot. And of course, that's not the summit. I don't know what the summit is, but it's got to be something like 29,000, I would think. Yeah, I don't know that I'd take my 2-year-old, but the previous record was from a 4-year-old. This, again, kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple of episodes ago, parents selling the Girl Scout cookies on behalf of their kids, and they're giving their kids credit. All this guy did was strap the kid to his back like Yoda and just walked around and then said, "Congratulations, you made it." The kid did nothing except not die. But yeah, can you imagine, though, if something bad had happened? Ooh.
The question is, would they would have left the bodies like they did the rest of the bodies?
Yeah, there's actually people, that are dead.
Yeah, they're just hanging out.
That are just, they actually use them as land markers or something.
So imagine Yoda and his dad frozen, reaching out for help. And actually, it's the other way. He's probably a loving father, so he's holding the baby.
Oh, he's in the front to keep it warm, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that I would have done that.
And you hear the child's cry at night in the distance.
This is getting really morbid now.
No one's going to save them.
Well, there's a picture of him. He looks a lot older than 2. This does not. Actually, I'm starting to smell a rat here. This kid looks a lot older than 2. He's looking like he's probably about 3 or 4, but I'm not going to go out there and verify. I think his name is Dallas Carter, I believe. I read that somewhere in the article. But yeah, not a smart idea, I think, to take your child, even if it is to the base camp of Mount Everest. Yeah, because again, could have gone horribly wrong.
I think more families should get together and do stuff like this. You only live once.
Yeah, I suppose so. All right, last story before the break, man. Have you heard of something? Well, go ahead. Yes.
Think about when he's like 7.
Uh-huh.
And he's in school.
Oh, he's got a huge flex on everybody.
Yeah, and it's like you have that presentation at school, like, what's your most favorite day? And it's like, it's when I was.
Yeah, I got to reach the base camp. What'd your dad do? He just shot himself in a pickup game at open house.
Yeah.
Loser. My dad actually took me to the base camp. You're right. I guess it is kind of a cool story for him. Again, if he lives.
He did live.
I know, but it's a risk that you're going to take that he doesn't. I mean, 17,000 feet. How high have you ever been up on a mountain? Do you know the highest elevation?
Idea. I know I was high enough when I looked down. I was like, oh,
that's a long way.
That's a long way.
Yeah. I don't know either. I think it's probably not that high. I would imagine it's somewhere around 13 or 14,000.
I'm not really one of those people who cares about details like that. It's more of like,
yes, we know you're not a details person.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. I'll do that. And then if it doesn't look like fun, I'm like, I'm not going to do that. It's not a hard decision for me to make.
Well, I'm going to strap you onto my back and take you next time I go mountain climbing.
Yeah, well, Estonian style.
Estonian style, that's right.
Is it Estonian or Houstonian?
It's neither. It's Estonian.
Estonian.
Okay. Estonian. Last story before the break, man. Were you aware of something called Operation Cat Drop?
No, I've seen Dumbo Drop, though.
So this is pretty interesting. Operation Cat Drop is the name given to the delivery of cats. Okay, supplied by the United Kingdom's Royal Air Force to remote regions of Malaysia and the island of Borneo back in 1960. Okay, so this is pretty interesting. So the cats were flown out of Singapore and delivered in crates dropped by parachutes, okay, as part of the program of supplying cats to combat infestations of rats. So I guess they figured, all right, I mean, we know cats don't like rats. Let's just drop them in from parachutes and crates. The most interesting part, though, I think, of this story, if you read into the details, newspaper reports published soon after the operation said it was a success, reference only 23 cats used. I'm like, doesn't seem like a lot of cats to solve a rat problem. However, some later accounts that claim the event had as many as 14,000 cats. Now, there's quite a difference there between 14,000 and 23. I don't know. It says additional.
Imagine being inside that airplane and you're hearing. And you're just sitting there. Right, you're just sitting
man, I hope the parachute opens.
I know we're just supposed to push a button to release them, but I'm throwing these cats off. Like, I'm throwing them off.
Additional source
it reminds me
references a recruitment drive for 30 cats. So I think the 14,000 is probably largely overblown, but I do think it's pretty awesome. We need to put some of those over your house to get rid of the rat problem in your blue bomber car.
That's what I should
just drop some crates.
Get in there. It's like, why do you have cats in your car? Oh, don't worry about it. Man, so my grandfather lived in Galveston, and he used to have, where his house was, they had peacock farm next door.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you ever heard of a peacock, heard it.
Yeah, they're nasty.
Well, no, have you heard them?
Yeah, they're loud. They're nasty. They're nasty birds.
It's weird. And when I remember first visiting them, I thought it was like the ghosts on the waters. I was like, there's a sea beast, and it's calling out to people. And because I would never think of peacocks in Galveston.
Well, didn't we talked about, I guess several months ago, how in Florida they're like basically invasive. They're just everywhere. They'll walk up on people's front porches and stuff.
Yeah, do whatever.
And then one of those vets was doing like a free pro bono peacock vasectomies, remember? We talked about that.
Oh, yeah, that was like one of our first episodes.
No, it wasn't one of our first episodes, but yeah, it was like 6 months ago. All right, man, it's a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into the age-old question, if money can indeed buy happiness.
Short answer, yes. Long answer, maybe.
Ooh, stick around. Hey there, audience of one listener. We hope that you're enjoying the show. And if you are, and you like what you're hearing, tell a friend. In fact, make it awkward and demand that they like and share the show. Do whatever you can to ensure that this little experiment we call Audience of One continues to thrive and prosper. And if you're interested in sponsoring or donating to the show, you can do that as well through our show page at irlonestar.com/AOO.
All right. Welcome back to Audience of One here on Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com/AOO. We're here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Our podcast drops occasionally if I remember to schedule it correctly. And also we're live on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. And we're live on YouTube and Facebook, Lone Star Community Radio. Please support Audience of One by donations or sponsorship. You can find all the ways to do that in the description below or visit our show page at irlonestar.com/AOO. And the onesies, we're back. It is the middle of February almost. I don't know. It's the first week of February.
it'll be the first week, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the blatant pandering segment of Audience of One. I want to thank all of our loyal listeners for sticking in and listening to us for the past year.
Yeah.
You guys are great, but you're also a little sick. I got to admit that.
One thing I'm really disappointed in.
But thank you guys for making this all happen.
I'm really disappointed in you guys is we have a text line, and Andrew's constantly on me about wanting to answer people on the text line. So call and leave a message or text 936-463-2322. You can send pictures of feet. I'm okay with that. I mean, you can send pictures of whatever. Actually, I'm open game. If Google calls me and is like, "Hey, we got this file being sent to you," I'll be like, "Hey, it's an adventure. What can you say?" So, but don't.
This radio show is not your dating platform, your kink platform, sir.
No, I'm just
leave your kinks out of this.
I don't want to put restrictions on people where they can send us. If they feel inspired to send us something, send it. That's the call text line at 936-463-2322. I think that's important to let people know and feel comfortable. Because
I thought it was more important to let everybody know how we appreciate them listening for the last year, as this is our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, it's been great, and I've definitely done the better job of the duo, of the power duo.
Without a doubt,
it is. I still feel underappreciated, and
just in awe of your radio ability, your broadcasting prowess. Is that a word? Every week, it just amazes me, man. Speaking of that, is there a right way to celebrate something when you are right, when you're correct? Is there a proper way to celebrate? I mean, I think we can all agree there's probably an improper way.
Yeah, I always celebrate it by never talking to that person again. Because it's like, I was right, you were wrong, you're an idiot. And then I don't deal with idiots.
So that's a very passive-aggressive, I guess.
I'm celebrating. You ask me, how do I celebrate? I'm like, look at that.
Like, if you never talk to me again, I'm going to be like, I guess he was right about something. I don't know.
Well, you're always going to be a lose-lose. If you're talking about like an argument and you're right, or are you talking about if you gambled
a victory,
and you won or something?
A game, anything. You know,
hip thrust. Hip thrust all day.
So that's what I'm saying. I think we all know that the in your face is probably not the best way to do it. Yeah, that the crotch chop. Yeah, any of that's probably not the best way to celebrate a victory, but I don't know if there's a real proper way that everybody can agree on as the right way to celebrate.
Well, I think it's also depending on the stage.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're on a giant field, you can kind of go crazy, right? You can run around, do cartwheels, and do funny things. But then, if you're in a classroom and you win like the top student award, like you don't just go flipping tables. So
I don't know. I think the one way to diffuse everything is, always thank the Lord. And everybody, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I gotta thank the Lord. Yeah, that's always proper. That kind of diffuses everybody. Oh, yes, look at him, so humble. But I don't know, man. I just wondered about that, though, because I'm anticipating some big victories this year, and I just want to know how to do it the right way.
Well, how so?
I don't know, man. We be winning. That's what I'm saying. We be winning.
Yeah, I mean, I like the celebratory drink.
There you go. That's
always
a
nice.
good one.
And I have one every day. You got to have a celebratory drink every day.
I celebrate so much.
You got to be appreciative of your goals.
So much.
Your goals and.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I had this story further down in the run sheet, but I want to talk about it now because you just said having a celebratory drink. Did you hear that Specs is now going to be selling a new type of beverage here in the Houston and Dallas and I guess the Texas region? Weed beer. Did you hear about this?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I had 2 of them before the show, man. Rock and roll.
No, I mean, I've heard of weed beer in Texas. So
yes,
it doesn't surprise me that Specs wouldn't be selling
Yes, they're going to be selling something called High Seltzer. Of course it's called High Seltzer. Yeah. It's a Delta 8 infused canned drink available in fruity flavors.
There's this girl I was hanging out with.
Lemon lime. Cherry.
A couple of months ago.
Pineapple.
And she would make these mixed drinks with that stuff.
Oh my God, with
And
Delta 8. So I guess this is a thing
and
now.
that's what I'm saying. I already knew. Like,
Okay, people do this, but now they're actually bottling and selling it though, which is
well, no, it's been available for the past year in Texas, from what I understand.
Delta 8 has, but as a drink?
It's a drink, yeah.
Really?
Because
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Man, so I'll tell you how
the spec store doesn't
behind the
surprise
times
me.
I am.
But yeah, I remember sitting there and we buy alcohol and she started, and I was like, she went to the store and she comes back and she has these cans and I was like, where the hell did you get these? She's like, oh, you go to the CBD whatever, blah blah.
Oh, they sell them at the CBD shops. Okay, I could see that. Okay.
But I was like, that sounds disgusting.
But this is going to be sold outside of that. And this is kind of weird because weed isn't technically legal here in Texas, but this Delta 8 strand, I suppose,
I think it's a farm thing.
So they get around it somehow.
But anyway, yeah, it was funny. She's like mixing it with her vodka soda or something like that. I forgot how she
Well,
made
that
it.
defeats the purpose.
And I was kind of
The
like,
whole point is to have non-alcohol drink. If they're mixing it, oh boy, that's really getting it. That's like Four Loko again. It's
they're
based on
having
what that
fun.
is. Yeah, they're
Hey,
having
let me
fun.
tell you, she was fun.
Yeah, I bet. This says the seltzer touts a, quote, happy without the hangover.
Very creative. I have to say that was a nice surprise.
All right. I'm not sure I know what you're talking
No, I
about,
mean,
sir.
like, I've never thought about that kind of stuff. And so when you meet somebody who's going outside the box, it's like, oh, okay.
So it says, unlike beer, high seltzer drinkers can expect some effects depending on the dosage. Each seltzer contains 5 milligrams of Delta 8 THC, one of the cannabinoids produced naturally by the cannabis plant. So yeah, I guess would you want to try one of these?
No, I'm allergic.
Oh, that's right. You've talked about it. They can blow up like I don't know, like a balloon. That'd be great. Was it like hives and things?
Yeah, dude.
Oh wow, this is gonna be
Like
great.
my throat
We're gonna try
closes.
some. I think we should get a 4-pack of these. Open at the start of the
I
show.
told you that was
and
the-
see
one of
where
the-
it goes.
That was one of the funniest things in my mind is I just ate a head of a gummy bear, and I'm like, my hands and feet grew 3 times, and I could barely breathe. I'm like, the head of a gummy bear almost killed me.
It is kind of funny if you think about it.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I want to try this, but I don't know, man. It does say Delta 8 offers a euphoria, stimulates appetite, and can energize or relax
Well, I was
based
definitely
on
all
the
those things
profile.
while I was slowly suffocating.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find it very strange that.
So they asked me, they're like, "Are you okay?" And I go, "I don't know. I don't know if it's working or if this is normal." But yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, well, maybe she was drinking her own version of Hobuzz because apparently that's another brand out there.
I forgot what it was in a
Hobuzz.
it was in a tall boy drink.
Oh, I thought you said she was mixing it herself.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. She bought the can
and then mixed it with vodka.
mixed
That's
it
right. I
with
forgot she
vodka
was
and-
ramping it up a notch, so to speak. But it
Yeah.
says the Delta 8 dosage in a single high seltzer is only half of what's in Hobuzz.
I mean, I like
And that's
it.
another seltzer launched by Houston attorney Tony Busby. That name
You know-
sounds familiar. What is
Yeah, he
Tony
ran
Busby?
ran for mayor. He's got a tank. He's the guy who parked the tank in his front yard to like he lives in River Oaks and he's like
Like a
"Screw
military
you." Yeah.
tank?
He's one of those.
Oh,
kinda
just to
guys.
prove a
Yeah,
point
he's
of
one those
something.
guys.
What point was he trying to
I
prove?
don't know. I just remember the tank being there, and I thought that was hilarious.
Hmm.
I always like people like that. I'm not gonna lie. I like people who do stupid, or outlandish things just to prove a point, and I also like little jokes. Like that's why I think I like Elon Musk because of like what he does with his little stupid jokes.
He thinks he's really funny. That's for sure.
Well, it is funny though. I think they're funny. Like I just realized all the models of his Telsa brand. If you go, I think it's on the website. If you do the first letter, it spells sexy.
Okay, I wasn't aware. That is really funny.
Like to me, that's funny. And if he did it on purpose, that's even more funny. And I like that.
Yeah. Well, you two are like kindred spirits, I
I
think.
mean, who doesn't like a good practical joke, especially at the like a billionaire doing? I think he even wrote a tweet today talking about he wanted to start like the Texas Institute of Technology Services. So the acronym was TITS.
I know what that spells, but
And
I can't say it on the
And
radio.
that's really funny to me. I was like, I don't know if he's serious or.
That's a good one.
And people people really hate that guy. So they're talking about like, we have great schools in Texas. We have all this stuff. Like, why do you want to start your own
Just because
technology?
it's funny.
And he's
He has like a
like,
third grade sense of humor.
Why do you hate it? I love it. Like that's
I don't
funny
hate it.
to me.
I don't. I think he thinks he's really funny. All right, man. Get this. This is a wicked story. I was not aware of this. Do you know what the store Rite Aid is?
Yep.
Okay, so that is a drugstore, and I don't know that we have them in this area, but I have seen them before. I don't know that they're a Houston-based retailer. Well, apparently they had implemented a facial recognition software back like in 2014 in a lot of their stores. One problem, though, it kind of profiled people as potential thieves if you were black, Latino, or Asian.
I remember reading something about that.
Oh, my. So you can imagine the scenario here. You walk in to get your wart cream or whatever, and the facial recognition picks up something about your face that says, this guy's a potential threat. And you go up there to just get your cream because you got a problem on your big toe, and they're like, yeah, cuffing and stuff him.
Is that what you call it too?
The big toe?
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, how bad is this? That it was.
Well, it's only bad if you act on it.
Well, okay.
Because isn't technically everyone coming into the store a potential threat?
Well, you would think, but the software only misidentified people of color as, quote, likely shoplifters. The text should
why would you tell anybody that?
I don't know, Dick. Why are you whispering on the radio?
I wouldn't report that. I'd be like, hey, something's wrong with the software. We might need to fix it.
Yeah, like everybody that's coming back is likely kind of looks all the same.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's you and I walking in unabated, and trying to steal stuff. They're fine. They're fine.
Don't group me with your activities outside this station.
Yeah, I don't know what they did with this information. Did they just kind of like, okay, we see one walking in, so let's really make sure that we're eyeing them closer? I guess that's what it was. Because, I mean, if you haven't done anything, it's a very Minority Report, though, if you think about it. Wasn't that the point of that movie was to stop crime before it happened?
Well, no, there's precogs. So there was actually
Watch your mouth.
human beings that could see into the future.
That would be short for precognition?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a machine doing it.
Oh, it wasn't?
Them.
I thought it was
them.
I could have sworn there was some sort of facial recognition, like it would scan.
They used that for facial recognition,
Okay.
but there wasn't AI behind it that was like, oh, this person's going to murder their parents or something. It was that precogs could see it, and there was the human element.
Well,
of the
this
movie.
is just an artificial version of the precog, as you
see. This
it.
is what's so strange to me about this argument.
It's terrible,
Is
man. It's
it
so
really,
bad.
I want to hear the argument why it would be a good thing. Because it's kind of like having that argument with people who argue about something that doesn't even exist yet. Mm-hmm. And it's because everyone's been in that kind of argument with somebody. It's like, we're talking about hypotheticals here, and you're threatening to kick me out. Like, you're going to beat me up over a hypothetical. And, yeah, that's what this reminds me of. Because if anyone came up to me and goes, sir, we're going to have to ask you to leave. I'd be like, why? I was like, oh, because our computer said you might steal something from here. I'd be like, might steal something?
Might.
Huh.
I know. It is hard to imagine, but this facial recognition was utilized.
1-star rating on Yelp.
Yeah, exactly. I'm leaving this Rite Aid. It was utilized in hundreds of their stores in New York, L.A., San Francisco, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Detroit, Atlantic City, Seattle, Portland, Oregon, but not here in Texas. So we are in the clear. Well, you and I would be in the clear anyways, I suppose.
Well, I don't really know. I mean, it's interesting because there is a fine line of using that kind of technology to help speed up a process. Like, to me, for example, what I love is I want to say I read an article about police officers using camera technology to scan your license plate faster, and even without probable cause. And they got in big trouble for that.
Yeah,
because
I would imagine this is even worse.
Because basically what they would do is they would go through parking lots and just drive slowly, and it would scan all the license plates and to see if there's a warrant or anything out, even though you're parked and you're in the mall or whatever.
This Dick Schisler car keeps coming up. What is
the
this?
rat-infested bomber. But no, and then they got in trouble for doing it on the highway because they would just drive the highway and just keep scanning everyone's license plate, even if you're going the speed limit. And that's how they would check you. And then that became some amendment or whatever it is. What's it, the 14th? No, it's not. What's the search and seizure? Is that the Third Amendment? I need to go back to class.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't
remember that one. Sorry, I'll have to go back and read those.
But
as
yeah,
well.
that's the only. I mean, it's kind of weird because there is a line where you got to draw, and this thing. Whoever thought this would be a good idea is one of my favorite people ever. I want to talk. Let's interview that guy.
Yeah. Wow. Hey man, we'll just come up with something that'll recognize people who are quote likely to steal. What do you mean likely? And how do you base the algorithm to even get started? All right, here's a picture of someone. Here's a picture of someone. What do they all have in common? I think the the light bulbs would have been going off. The red flags were raised
Yeah.
a long time. Somewhere, at some point, somebody was in a boardroom and went, "That's a great idea."
Wasn't Target or isn't Target known for their anti-theft security?
I don't know that, actually.
I want to say it's one of those
Never attempted to steal anything there.
corporations where they like kind of redefine what anti-theft was because the way they set up their security system.
Wow.
And they're
I'll
able
have
to
to look into
detect that stuff. And they even use like local, like small rural cities use them for helping forensics.
Interesting. I hope your buddy doesn't walk through a Target scanner with that RFI thing that you put on his shoe. Anyways, all right, man, this was the story that I teased at the break about money buying happiness. This is an age-old question. It's probably really tired, but I thought this article was pretty interesting. This is MSN, but I think it's sourced from somewhere else. It says most Americans, 59%, believe that money can buy happiness. But here's the interesting part. The exact dollar figure depends on who you ask. Millennials, of which you're suffering so bad from your millennialism. Okay?
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
I forgot I was.
They say an annual income of $525,000 would bring them happiness. Okay? Now compare that to Gen Z and baby boomers, okay? Normal people, who say they would only need around $125,000 a year to be happy. What is wrong with you millennials that you need $500,000 a year just to be happy?
You know, probably what
How much weed beer you need to buy?
No, probably.
Come on, man.
Probably what it is we're the last of the generations that think we should have stay-at-home wives. So we need 500,000
to keep them happy.
to keep everybody happy in the family, to everyone to be cool.
That is an insane amount of money, man. A year just to be happiness. So do you think money can indeed buy happiness, Dick?
I think it depends on the individual. I think it depends. Really, what to me happiness comes down to is the effort you put in spending your time. And if you put a lot of effort spending your time on something that doesn't cost money and it brings you happiness, then money doesn't really matter to you. But if you spend your time into something that does cost money, then clearly money is required to be happy.
That was deep. That was deep, bro.
You know, I'm actually a very deep person. And one thing I always wondered is I always find the people who do like models of stuff really creepy, but they spend a lot of money on that crap.
Models?
Yeah, like little ship models, and they build build battlefields and stuff. I always thought that was really cool, but when you actually get to know some of them, you're like, you're spending like an easy $15,000 a year on this.
It's their thing.
And I was like,
Don't judge.
Well, I mean, that's just
they don't need
wild to me.
$500,000 a year to be happy.
Well, that's
clearly
that's one battlefield. I mean, you know.
It says, in addition to the generational divide, men and women think very differently about money as well. The survey shows that men would need to earn $381,000 a year to be happy, while women say they only need $183,000. Maybe you were onto something there, Dick.
No, I'm not. I mean, like,
I think we just like more expensive toys because we got to show off. It's the peacock effect, right?
Well,
we got to go get the fancy car and impress the lady.
They're also asking people who are older. Millennials are older than Gen Z or whatever, so the Gen Z sees themselves as an individual for the rest of their life.
They weren't in this survey yet. I guess they're not old enough to really be out there working.
You said Gen Z, X, and baby boomers.
No. Baby boomers and Gen X, not Gen Z.
Okay.
Oh, no, it does say Gen Z. I'm sorry. Yeah, Gen Z, Gen X, and baby boomers.
Yeah.
I'll say 125,000. I'm sorry, I missed the Z in there.
But, I mean, I think there's also, you know, baby boomers probably say that because they're old and they're retired. And they're like, yeah, I don't really need that much money to exist.
Yeah, but 500, that's quite an outlier, man.
I mean, that would be living comfortably with like a family of 4.
Very comfortably, Dick.
Nah,
I mean, that's buying, like I said, a lot of weed beer and a lot of vacations to go on while you're on said weed beer.
If you're the only person making $500,000.
I love this, though. It says people were asked what they would give up to achieve their financial happiness. Nearly 75% said they would give up social media and big-ticket events for the peace of mind. I would, too. My God.
Again, it's about how
social media and big-ticket. I don't care.
It's about how you spend your time.
I'll watch the game from home on my 90-inch TV.
No, your Vision Pro goggles, dog.
Oh, right. There you go. See? And I don't need to gram about it because I gave up Soch for my wad of cash. I don't know. Thought it was pretty interesting.
But see, these are, I guess it's fun to talk about, I guess.
It is. It is kind of funny. And this is interesting. Only 20% of people would be willing to give up their pet for financial happiness. I'm like, bro, take it. I don't care. Seriously.
That's a hard ask.
I love my dog, but if it meant I guess it depends. $500 and something thousand a year? Yeah, take it. Just make sure she's well cared for.
I mean, I'll shoot her myself.
I didn't say shoot her. I said make sure she's well cared for. Doesn't mean kill her.
Well, I want to be the one that takes her life.
Okay, you just made this really morbid. Giving up the animal, I don't think means instant death from a bullet to the brain, man.
Oh, you're talking about all dogs go to heaven, I thought. So.
Yes. Okay, now you're really trying to spin it. I'm just letting her go to her eternal peaceful spot. I'm just being nice. You are such a twisted person. Okay, so this next story is from the AP, and I think this is probably straight out of my nightmares. Woman falls into dumpster and survives getting compacted by the garbage truck multiple times. Whoa, so this is in New Hampshire. A woman fell into a dumpster while throwing out her garbage and was later rescued from the trash truck that had compacted her while she was inside. So I'm not entirely sure how this happens, but I'm guessing that she's probably a lady who lives in like an apartment complex or something where they have the big trash bins, and she goes to throw something in there, and maybe she goes, whoop, the momentum took her in, and I guess it was probably one of those scenarios where, it was trash day, and she was probably rushing out to get to the trash before the trash man came, and they came pick her up and did what trash trucks do and compacted. But she survived. Oh my God, man. She's going to own waste management after that. Actually, I don't know that it was waste management, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where the security camera footage is probably hilarious.
Yes, and it says, luckily neighbors heard her screams and the trash compartment was equipped with a camera. Can you imagine being that trash guy by there? What in the heck? You're seeing a Nike followed by a hand waving, and then a Nike again, and then a hand. Hey, help me. Ooh.
Wait.
Nasty, man.
Dude, I don't know if I was listening correctly. Did you say a shoot, or did you say she was on the second story and tried to throw it in the dumpster?
No, I was surmising that that's what happened. That because it says she fell into a dumpster, and then that dumpster got put into the trash truck, and the trash truck compacts it. So I'm guessing that
she hurt herself falling in because
possibly.
I'm thinking to myself the timeline here, because trash isn't picked up every day, depending on where you are.
Right.
So was this lady just hanging out for a couple days?
That's what I said. I wonder if it was trash day, because otherwise she would have fallen in there and yelled to the next person who came to put trash in. But it sounded like there was, I'm reading between the lines here, that there wasn't a lot of time in between when she fell in.
Sounds like a hit.
Oh, I like where you're going. Yeah.
They knocked her out.
Uh-huh.
So she's going to be knocked out for a couple days. Just leave her there. Leave her in the trash.
No one will hear her screams.
But she woke up, and she's a fighter. And she's
she is.
She's like, I'm stuck in this dumpster. I need to get out. Don't crush my soul. And she fought for her life. Congratulations. She needs a trophy that she'll never throw away.
Yes, that she does deserve a trophy for that. A participant award and a big trophy.
And then she's addicted to almost dying. Because she sees that trophy and she says, that's the most alive I've ever felt. It's a whole other ball game with this lady.
You're right. You've kind of turned the tables on this trophy thing. The trophies keep me alive.
Yeah. Screw you, scientists. You don't know what you're talking about. Trophies keep people alive.
Oh, Dick, have you ever been...
That'd actually be pretty funny if you had cancer or something and your buddy gives you a trophy for you lived or you're still alive. I think that'd be pretty good joke.
And then there is this article about throwing it away because it reminds me of a better self. Yeah. Wait a minute, I'm so confused.
I think I might do that.
Have you been
Next friend that gets cancer, I'm getting you a trophy. You're still alive. Every year I'll give you a trophy.
The still living trophy?
No, I'll update it. I'll steal it from your house and put
every year you'll put
2025, 2026.
Scratch out 2026.
Yeah.
You are sick, sir. Have you ever been to Oklahoma City?
Nope.
Yeah, you're really missing out there. They do have an area in town called Brick City or Bricktown, I think it is, and it has
That's
something
kind of fun.
Yeah, it goes back to, I guess, because the streets are made of brick, and it's kind of the old part of town. It's a neat mix of like restaurants and businesses and things like this. I've been down there a couple of times. Either one driving through, and then one I think I actually was there for work. Well, apparently, California developer Scott Matson announced plans to build a 134-story tower building standing 1,750 feet tall in Oklahoma City. What the hell for, bro? It would be the tallest building in the United States in Oklahoma City. So I'm guessing they're thinking, hey, people will come to OKC if we got this big, tall building. I don't know.
I mean,
seems like a misplaced.
This is going to happen. You know this because of jobs going remotely. It's kind of
that's another thing.
It's
Is
a slow burn.
The demand for commercial real estate seems to be at an all-time low. This doesn't seem like this would be a smart idea. Not just for the fact that it's in Oklahoma City, for crying out loud. People aren't going into the office nearly as much. They do radio talk shows in the middle of the day, for crying out loud.
Yeah. On a Monday.
I know. That's ridiculous. If the plan succeeds, the Legends Tower would be the tallest building in the U.S. and the 5th tallest in the world. The tallest right now is in Dubai, which stands 2,716 feet tall. So, wow, it's a full...
And who goes to Dubai?
To see a building. That's a full 1,000 feet taller than this one. It's nuts, bro. Nuts. All right, man, quick hit here at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Menendez brothers?
I remember them looking really mean.
They did have a look about them, and if for our onesie audience who may not know who the Menendez brothers are, they were charged in the early 90s, late 80s, something like that, with murdering their parents.
Yummy.
Yeah, and they claimed that they were abused, and I'm not entirely sure the outcome of that scenario there, right? I think they got charged, and they went...
I don't know the story at all. I just remember them looking like twins, and they looked mean.
Yeah, they did have a weird look about it. Well, I found this article really, really weird from CBS Sports. A 1990 basketball card of Mark Jackson is unique because in the background of this card are the Menendez brothers sitting courtside.
That's awesome.
It is weird. I have this basketball card. I know I do. But what's really crazy about it is, actually, I think this is, it says that they were infamously convicted for murdering their parents in 1989. And following the timeline, it looks like this is about the time in between when they were murdered their parents and when they were convicted. And the story goes that they were out spending lavish amounts of their parents' money after they passed, of which tickets to the New York Knicks must have been one of them. They got snapped in this picture, and now they're immortalized on the front of this 1990 basketball
That's
card.
pretty cool.
Isn't that weird? And you can have one of these cards. They're worth about $25, or I'll just bring mine up here. You can look at it, but I'm not giving it to you.
How are those not trophies?
Basketball cards?
Yeah.
I mean, it is to the player, I suppose, in a weird way, but not to the person collecting it. It says the brothers weren't initially seen as suspects in the murder of their wealthy parents, but their outrageous spending put them on the authorities' radars in 1990. And apparently, like I said, Knicks tickets were a part of that spending. Wow. Crazy. So, moral of the story is, if you're going to kill your parents and you're going to be spending their money, try to stay out of the limelight as much as possible and maybe get second or third row. They have court seats right there. I'm just saying, hey, word to the wise. All right, man.
Or,
that is
just
all
don't
we
murder your parents.
Oh, yeah, and there's that. There is that. All right, man, that's all we got time for this week. Dick, that was a wonderful episode.
Yeah, I like it. Audience of One every Wednesday at
Audience of One.
10 a.m. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Don't forget, you can always call, text at any time, 936-463-2322. And you can always email us at audienceofoneshow@gmail.com. And then visit our show page at irlonestar.com/.
Like, share, follow.